Amazing moments in the storied career of Zdeno Chara, mostly with the Boston Bruins. He spent 14 seasons there, all of which were spent as captain. But guess what? A new chapter has begun. Big Z is going to D.C., which, by the way, happens to be in the same division now this year as Boston. What was your reaction to hearing the news on Wednesday?
I was a little shocked. I mean, I try to look at it from both sides of the coin and of why the Boston Bruins would choose not to bring him back. And it's tough because you know, I picture Big Z in that jersey. He is the captain, won a Stanley Cup there after so many years in Boston. He's beloved throughout the city. He's a great leader, and he's going to be missed. But they have great leadership there, and Patrice Bergeron, who I would assume at some point will be named the next captain. But it's difficult. I think they're going to miss him a lot, and they also they're going to miss another guy that they lost to St. Louis and Torrey Krug. So. It's going to be an uphill battle for this team, I think, this year. Yeah,
we can talk a little more about the Bruins and what lies next for them in a moment. But let's let Zdeno Chara do the speaking from his perspective. This is what he shared on Instagram, just a part of a really eloquent and beautiful tribute that he had to Boston. He said, "My family and I have been so fortunate to call the great city of Boston our home for over 14 years. Recently, the Bruins have informed me they plan to move forward with their many younger and talented players, and I respect their decision. Unfortunately, my time as the proud captain of the Bruins has come to an end." He went on to say, "As I begin this next chapter, I want the people of Boston to know how proud I was to be a Bruin and how grateful I am for all of the support over the years. Thank you does not seem adequate to express my sincere gratitude. I will always be a Bruin. I will always love Boston." Now, though, he's got to quickly recalibrate and start to get used to calling the Capitals and D.C. his home, because they're very excited to have him. Big Z to D.C. Caps have agreed to terms with him on a one-year contract worth just under $800,000. And like we kind of mentioned off camera, Rupper, when you see that price tag, you think, couldn't Boston have made it work?
Yeah, for that. It's hard for me to fathom that the Boston Bruins wouldn't find it, you know, that same price to have him back in Boston, even if it meant more of a diminished role. I think Zdeno Chara would probably take that to be with the Boston Bruins because he's been so entrenched in leading that team. And like you saw in his comments there, in his post, he loves Boston. And his family does as well. It's home. So, yeah, I am shocked by that. I thought the entire time that it was just a matter of time till they brought him back, that they probably had a deal in the top drawer, and we're just waiting on that. When you look at right here, the history with the Boston Bruins, the original 6 team, is Zdeno Chara is right up there in the mix with that. I guess the biggest thing for me is I'm trying to look at it from the other side of it as well, what I was touching on earlier. And it's hard to question the Boston Bruins because over the last 4 or 5 years, we've always said that they're getting old. They're getting a little long in the tooth. How are they going to be? They won the President's Trophy last year. So they've done a good job of bringing in young players and putting them in winning positions and positions to succeed. They're going to have to continue to do that here. So it's tough to question that. Maybe it's about just ripping the Band-Aid off. But I also look at the division that they're playing in this year. In this reconfigured league for this season, it's the toughest division in hockey. So you're losing your lead. It's tough. I thought there was going to be a lot put on the plate of Charlie McAvoy when Torrey Krug left. Charlie McAvoy's going to have even more on his plate now.
Oh, my gosh.
And, you know, I don't know. It's tough because I think that decor for the Boston Bruins, as you look up there, that's been one of the more surprising, well-put-together decors. I don't think we anticipated them being so good over the last couple of years. It's been a strength of theirs. You know, we always talk about their top line, their goaltending, all that good stuff, but their decor has been very good. So, you know, again, it's hard to question because they seem to make the right decisions. But it's you can't have him back. It's, you know, $795 in the Bruins uniform. That one's tough to understand.
It's got to sting too from a Bruins fan's perspective because, of course, he was a fan favorite, right? 14 seasons as the captain. The guy's 43 years old and still bringing it every single night. What do you think his legacy will be in Boston?
The cup. It's bringing the cup there, being that leader. The big bad Bruins, when they won that cup, that was, you know, they had a lot of pieces there. They had a lot of guys. You know, they had Milan Lucic get in there on the forecheck, and the Lucic train was going. They had Sean Thornton. They had toughness in their lineup, but it was led by this guy. And this guy, do you want to see the epitome of toughness, Jamie? We were there in Boston, Stanley Cup Finals comebacks, and he plays with a broken jaw. You remember how loud that building was? It was incredible. So, That's the biggest thing, is this guy's leadership and his toughness that he brought to the Bruins. And I think that's why the fans loved him so much, because there always was that big, bad Bruins team.
Oh,
and as you see right there, not too many guys would be able to do that. And he was doing anything he could. That's what leaders do, right? If he wasn't able to, physically get it done, he was going to be a cheerleader on the bench, guide guys.
Because it's the cup.
Yeah, and I think that, to go back, the fans of Boston always love their big, tough teams, and I think that's the legacy Z brings, is the class that he brings, but the toughness on the ice as well.
For the Capitals, what are they getting in Zdeno Chara, albeit at 43 years old?
Well, they're getting a defenseman that he's not done playing. He clearly is not done. He wants to come back and play, and I think when you have Zdeno Chara, you got a big body. Takes up a lot of the ice. Is he Zdeno Chara of his prime? No, he's not. But he has a lot of attributes. He's a wily vet. He makes things happen. He can still kill penalties and do a very good job. And he can add a little bit of toughness on the back end as far as just clearing out in front of the goaltender. And let's look at their goaltending.
Yeah.
Braden Holtby's not there anymore.
Right. You thought you had Hank, now you don't.
Yeah. So you've got Samsonov. And you need another guy to protect that front of the net. And I don't know of any bigger guy, meaner guy, more respected and feared guy in front of that net than Zdeno Chara. So I think it should work out really well. Yeah,
well, some of the current Capitals are already showing their appreciation for the fact that Zdeno Chara will be a teammate instead of an opponent. Check out TJ Oshie, what he said on Twitter after learning of the signing. And lovely picture, right? And probably a great memory for Oshie, who said, I'm looking forward to not doing this anymore, at least not in games. Welcome to D.C., Big Z. Tom Wilson chimed in as well. I'm sure Ovi has his thoughts, but this really does feel like D.C., or Washington rather, is saying, maybe we have one more shot this year. Yeah. Let's go get it, and let's bring in a wily veteran, someone that still can bring so much to the ice. Do you like this move from the Capitals' perspective?
Yeah, I don't think there's any risk involved here. I mean, the price is not, there's no risk in the price. You get a guy to come in here, and let's say worst case scenario. I think it might take a little while for this kind of coming back to playing with the way this schedule has been over the last 9 months for the veteran, the older players. It might take them a while to get going. So let's say it takes Z a while to get going. If you still have him as your 6th D, I mean, worst case 7th D, think of all the attributes he's bringing, the confidence. Guys are going to play a little bit bigger on that team. He will lead. He will do whatever is needed. If he needs to play 7 minutes or 17 minutes or 22 minutes, he's going to do whatever is necessary, because that's the type of human being he is. And so, no, there's no risk here. It's all reward here for the Washington Capitals.
Entering his 23rd NHL season. It's remarkable when you think about just how long he's been. I mean, you probably remember playing against him, no?
I remember being in training camp with him when he first was with the New York Islanders. And, it seems like an eternity ago. And he's still getting it done. And he probably still could play longer even after this year if he wants to.
Amazing. Well, congratulations to Big Z on the new deal. We can't wait to watch him, albeit a strange sight in Capitals red when the season drops the puck in 2 weeks. We do.